SC inches. He's coming on as an advisor as well. But he did say, he said, you know, William is a good guy, and I thought we were talking about the same guy. Anyway, is this going to be busy, or it looks a bit?
No, it's just investor only. So I just
yeah, you keep going.
Lost. So.
Yeah, of course. You invited me to speak. You'd be like, oh yeah, I just saw the formula, I know that page. I got it.
It's going to be the same level of manipulation you've done to these people.
Hopefully that.
Yeah,
just throwing it out there.
It's okay. I think most people are going to days but since we're not here, just trying to get it as possible. That's okay. Yeah, just nothing crazy. I mean, so the people here are mostly investors. The people on the live stream are mixed. Investors, so the audience is been mixed. Like recent trend. I mean, everybody's heard like when you look at or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
So I guess other people do that.
Okay. It's working. It says the streaming health is good. Everything's good. No, we don't need to start. But we'll start the stream. We don't want to start the stream until we're hassling the stream. Two, 1, 5, and 89 seconds. Hey guys, if you want to talk in the back, if you talk right here, you're going to be on live stream. It starts to go live. I don't think you want to be on live stream as you first. Protect you. Just wait for it to go live. This live stream soon. Just wait. Oh, you can't do it here. You gotta go to this one. Go to Chrome. Should go live in a minute.
I mean, it's already 2:01.
No, your clock's not there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's weird.
Well, let's wait a minute and we'll go live in a minute. Hey, how's it going? Gun.
Panel. Yes. Do you want to make that available for people to watch later? Or just
Everything's going to be recorded live, but once we finish, we should let out.
Okay. Is the recording
No, once we finish, we get to release. So within like 4 hours or so, we can cut. Just press the live button now.
Yeah, I did. For this one, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, we still have our meetings and we have the money. We're supposed to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're supposed to cooperate with them, but you know, it happens. Yeah.
Everyone party. Hey, there you are. What's going on? It's right here. Hey, I'm starving.
Outside of our people.
I just like to start with yeah, that's right.
You want somebody, you want somebody so we put a pen on it.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's for your pictures. How are you? Are you staying?
Come back. You can have my ticket on this day.
Yeah.
Just to turn around.
It's okay.
I see your haircut. I see your haircut.
Guys, someone is
We're having a party. So as well, you and Ryan, there's a night where Pantera is partner. So I'm spending 600 things. So I'm not gonna give it. Here, watch out.
oh yeah. All right. Hey, how are you doing?
Alright, I think I fixed it. Yours is working.
Only the YouTube though. The Facebook is not connected.
There you go.
You're still in the bash place?
Yeah.
You want our water?
Oh, we're upstairs.
Yeah, no water. Well, let's catch up now. I mean, the new areas we're looking at, we're spending a lot of fintech, specific areas around fintech,
Hello.
gaming actually. So, if any of those areas we're looking at,
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to ask everyone to come on and sit on down as we get ready to start. We could get everybody to come on down. I know we want to talk to the startups, to get ready. We know we want to hear you guys pitch, so come on down. Pitching is where it's at. Always be pitching. Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Chicken, Program Director of MOX. I'd like everyone to come on down. Let's find our seats. Come on guys, I'll start calling out my name. There's Wayne. Come on Wayne. Come on down Wayne. Wayne from Goama. Come on. You gotta come on down. Let's go together. Let's go guys. Let's go Radio Cut. Come on, let's bring it in guys. Come on. Bring it in please. Come on over. We got the live stream going. How's it going, live stream?
hello. Could I jump in your room?
There we go. All right, bringing it in. We got some more. All right, some seats over there. All the guys, come on over. So startups, you can either sit in the back or come on and wait in the wings over here. Up to you. All right, guys. Okay. So to start off, welcome to MOX Batch 4 Demo Day. Hey! We have 6 incredible startups, and they are going to come up on stage and pitch their journey at MOX, what they've been able to achieve, where they're going, how they've done it. They're incredible stories, incredible pitches, but first, I'd like to tell everybody that if you are going to take photos, which I hope you are, and post it on social media or put it anywhere, please use the hashtag MOXLife or MOX Demo Day 4. We appreciate if you guys use those. That help us. We will tweet at you, like you, follow you, do everything we can short of stalking you on social media. Then, we're going to start off with a panel discussion about impact. Okay? We're going to have this with 2 esteemed guests and William Baubin doing the, come on out over here, doing the moderation. So first I'd like to welcome you on stage. Please give a big round of applause for our panelists. Come on in. Come on over guys. Seats right here. And William, you can sit right over here.
Thanks a lot. So, we're live streaming, but we're not recording, so feel free to be honest. Yeah, I know it's tough. No, uncensored at least. So, thanks for joining us. So I'm going to let you introduce yourselves, but Edgar and I go way back. We worked together at Singtel Innovate, starting over 7 years ago. And we've known each other for this decade. Yeah, almost. First, Edgar, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Edgar Hart, the CEO of Singtel Innovate, which is the corporate venture arm of the Singtel Group. Manage a $250 million evergreen fund, and we invest. We're actually stage agnostic. We invest from as little as a couple $100,000 all the way to 20 million, investing in areas of interest to the Singtel Group. Thanks.
And I'm David Rowley, Managing Partner at Kendall Ventures. We run a $100 million fund, Series A fund, mainly focused in Southeast Asia, and within sectors like software, marketplaces, e-commerce, financial services.
So there's a lot of VC panels, and there's mostly just VCs in the audience. So we're not going to ask you, what do you look for in a startup or anything like that. But for the VC audience and the entrepreneurs who can catch the live stream, kicking off with Edgar, what are the sort of, just in the last 3 months or 6 months, what are the areas that are sort of hot or interesting for you? Sector, country, and also actually deal size. And when you say Series A, because a Series A here is different than a Series A in China, which is different than a Series A in the US. So if you could actually give the dollar size amount along with the series, that would be great. So, I'll feed it to you. So, first off, what are the sectors that you're looking at? And what countries or what regions are you looking for?
So, I mean, we're a global fund, and we've actually got presence in Silicon Valley, Tel Aviv, and here in Singapore. So we do look at a lot of areas. But I would say what I've seen on my trips over the last 6 to 12 months, obviously no surprise, artificial intelligence. I mean, AI is the buzzword now. I actually made a prediction, I think almost a year ago, when I was asked, what's the one trend you're going to see this coming year, 12 months ago? And I predicted that every single pitch deck you'll find the words AI or machine learning. And I think that's very much the case. I mean, almost every company you see is looking at it. But I think people now starting to understand the potential impact of AI. So it's now gone beyond just a buzzword. It's actually people and investors and start recognizing the proper application of AI can make a huge difference in so many different verticals. And I think there are now entrepreneurs realizing this and then finding ways to do that. So you're seeing a whole plethora of really interesting companies coming up, applying AI to specific problems. So not generating AI platforms, but saying, okay, we can take artificial intelligence to make something better within a specific industry or vertical. So we're seeing a lot of that, and that's really exciting from our perspective. The other area that, at least for us from a Singtel Innovate perspective, is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a huge growth area. I think with, especially in the corporates and increasingly in the SME space, is something that we're seeing a lot more activity. I think many more people are becoming aware of the consequences and the potential issues around cybersecurity. And so that's something that is very near and dear to our heart. We spend a lot of time in cyber. Actually, we have over 10 cybersecurity companies in our portfolio. And I'll say one of the trends in cyber is that, when we first started investing in cyber 2 years ago, definitely the trend to talk to your point about ground side and so forth, we're definitely seeing a little bit of a bubble in cyber at this point in time, but it's still, I think, a very interesting area and one area that's going to continue to grow. I'm particularly excited about cyber as it applies to SME space, because I think that is a really real need and a gap in that space. And part of what we recently announced at ICE71, which is the first cyber accelerator here in Singapore, is to look at some opportunities. And hopefully some of those will be looking at addressing cybersecurity needs of smaller companies. Those are two main trends that I've seen. I would say the last one is around autonomous vehicles, connected car. That also seems to have taken off in a big way as well.
So just within AI, are you focused? What are maybe 3 of the top application areas that you're most focused on? And a bit of a bubble, but where are you participating? Are you doing, aside from Accelerator, are you doing like $1 million checks, $10 million checks, or are we talking like $50 million rounds here?
I would say 3 areas in AI. The first one is in terms of process automation, workflow automation. How is AI being used to improve the internal workings of organizations? I mean, or providing better customer service. The obvious example is chatbots in terms of, some people say that's not really AI, but depending on how you develop a chatbot, it could be. So those are areas where enterprises themselves are finding better ways to leverage on their own capabilities through AI. That's one area. The other second area I think is in big data. We're seeing a lot in terms of the big data space, in terms of initial machine learning, but now you're seeing a lot more predictive data engines, taking data in and actually making predictions of what's going to happen in the future. One area that we're particularly interested in, obviously, is around network data. I mean, if we can predict where and when our networks are likely to fail before that happens, you can imagine the benefit we can provide our customers by actually stopping those failures before they happen. So the use of prediction is something we see in the big data space is very interesting. I would say probably the last space for us in AI is around cybersecurity. Once again, if you can predict you're likely to be hacked before you're hacked, then obviously at least you have some grounds on which to mitigate that. In terms of our investment space, we typically invest kind of in the B, Series B, Series A, B, C. I would say anywhere between 3 to 7, 8 million US dollars is our typical ticket size in the space. Valuations of companies typically are ranging, 100 million plus for the most part, but we are seeing companies in especially parts of this world where those numbers obviously significantly less, but also interesting.
Yeah, so I think my team has a sense of humor and actually developed a chat bot representing me. So I'm much more efficient now. Did you sort of opine, agree, disagree? I mean, you're operating in a slightly different area, so great to hear your thoughts. Again, so what are the sort of hot areas or areas of interest? Because VCs are often like sheep. They sort of herd together into a new and exciting area. Maybe is there an area that other people aren't looking at that you're looking at? Or are you also focused on the similar areas? Thanks.
Yeah. But I think we're only focused on Southeast Asia predominantly. And I still think there's more companies and capital here. And so you probably don't see a herd mentality like you do maybe in markets where you have a large amount of capital that's put in. I think for the entrepreneurs in the room, I've been covering Southeast Asia for 19 years from a tech perspective. I think this is probably the most exciting time to be building a business in this part of the world. And you finally have a true kind of inflection point that's hit. You have total addressable market sizes within most categories that are sufficient in order to build very, very large scale businesses. You have consumption that's happening, you have transactions that are starting to happen, and so monetization has become quite real. I think obviously some markets, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, monetize much better than say Indonesia, but the population and size in Indonesia makes it certainly a super attractive market. Some of the themes that we think about, we tend to be quite sectoral focused in how we invest. One is just around the general consumption growth that's happening in this part of the world. And so if you think about a lot of people, and as smartphones get into a lower socioeconomic group, that market really didn't have access to a lot of products and services, particularly in cash-based economies. They didn't have access to things like credit. And so products become much more accessible to them through the smartphone. So there's an increase in overall consumption that's happening. And you overlay that with some macro trends around GDP growth, GDP per capita growth, emerging middle class, salary and wage increases, and you get a real disposable income that you can see start to flow through digital channels. And so, consumption as a whole has been a theme for us, and that may come in the form of marketplaces or e-commerce sites or even second derivatives of that, like logistics or consumer credit, will ride off of the general trend of consumption growth. And so I think that is certainly, it's going nowhere but north, and I think will accelerate as we go forward. I think another one which has been really interesting for us is in software. And so if you think about China, 10 years ago, Southeast Asia, no different. If you were in a traditional business and you were running a warehouse and you had a problem, you'd hire 10 guys and you'd chuck them in the warehouse and you'd try and solve the problem. But as incomes go up and as costs become more expensive, it's harder to bring that labor in. And so more and more we're seeing mid-sized businesses and small businesses say, well, actually software can solve some of my problems. If I bought a warehouse management platform, I could actually get rid of 10 guys and I could become more efficient. And so, and as you go through that cycle, everyone wants it for free. And everyone wants to do everything. And then eventually you see businesses starting to say, well, actually there's an ROI to this, I can justify that, I can quantify it, and then you see them start paying. And so we're seeing a lot of really interesting software companies kind of start to come up. And because there's such unique problem sets within these markets, they can create a certain competitive moat in this part of the world because they're solving issues that are not unique necessarily, but there are nuances to what they're doing, which are much harder for a lot of the global players.
So Edgar, you're doing slightly later stage for the Asian market. Kind of what are you guys looking at? Are you participating in the same trend as David, or for Southeast Asia or South Asia or even all of Asia? What's the strategy?
So I think some of the areas that we are now going to be looking at when it comes to Southeast Asia will be around specific verticals around the fintech space, especially around personal finances in terms of lending, in terms of credit scoring, in terms of identification, authentication of parties for financial services, using the mobile device as a way to actually engage and access customers. The other area is also health tech. I think now we're seeing some really interesting companies, and actually a lot of them in China, how they leverage on the mobile device and the fact that there's ubiquitous payment through WeChat Pay and Alipay now to provide insurance as well as medical services through the mobile device. I mean, I think Ping An in China is a very good example of one where you can have a full teleconsultation with a doctor, get a diagnosis, get your prescription, and you turn up at the pharmacy, you flash a QR code, bang, it's done, you get your medicine, you're off. So, you know, those kind of capabilities and services which are taking what are traditionally quite painful journeys that, you know, you go to the doctor's clinic, you sit there for a long time before you get to see the doctor, then you've got to get a prescription, all that. You know, I think people are now applying technology to a lot of those industries. And I think that is particularly exciting for us, obviously, as being part of a telco group, having the mobile device as part of that is very important. And then I would say the last space that we're looking at is around the whole concept of gaming and mobile gaming. You know, that's one of the biggest markets, you know, when we were working together was in China and still is. And I think we're seeing signs of that really taking off in Southeast Asia as well. So that's an area, and obviously it's mainly mobile based and focused. So those areas that we are particularly interested in the coming year.
David, so you've got a lot of global players coming into Southeast Asia, and they've been doing it for the last 17, 18, 19 years since you've been looking at the market. I think you actually worked for one of them at one time, right? Yeah. So now you've got a slightly different group of players, Facebook, Google, but you've got Chinese companies coming in, investing a lot of money. What are the 2 or 3 impacts that you see of, say, Chinese investors or Chinese companies coming in? And how do you position yourself as a VC in the context of very large folks with lots of money coming down into the market?
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's super interesting, the dynamics of this region. You know, if you think about Southeast Asia, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, it was very US innovation-led market. And so Uber would come up in the US or something would come in the US and it would get replicated here. And I think that's actually shifting more towards China. I think more and more people who are driving innovation in this part of the world are looking to China for inspiration rather than looking to the US. And I honestly think there's actually more innovation happening in China today, particularly in financial services and, you know, AI, crypto. I think there's a few sectors where they're just so far ahead in China. And so you're seeing more and more of that happen. I think at the top end of town, you know, Southeast Asia is looking a little bit like a proxy war, where you have, you know, Alibaba and Tencent, you know, kind of fighting it out down here. SoftBank coming in, you know, writing very large checks. You know, but that tends to be much more mature businesses. It tends to be the capital that they're deploying is, you know, of a huge volume. You know, it's $100 million or $200 million in very kind of late stage companies. I think the disruption that we're seeing probably more in the earlier stage is ICOs. And, you know, I think ICOs are, you know, whether or not you can, you know, figure it out, that's you, and then do an ICO yourself. But, you know, I think it's interesting to watch the types of companies, and it, you know, I think it'll play out. It'll take a few years for it to really play out. But it's interesting to see, you know, the access to capital through that avenue has been interesting to track. But I also think there's a general theme around geographic expansion. So there's a lot of Chinese companies that, you know, start to feel like they're a market leader in China, or start to feel like they're in a position where they're quite solidified in terms of their competitive set, and start to think, well, we should think about expanding. And so you go to the US, and guess what? It's expensive, it's hard, you know, it's just a really tough market to crack into. I think Europe, from a Chinese person sitting in Beijing, feels difficult. I think when you come to Southeast Asia, there's a more affinity culturally. I think there's a trading multiple arbitrage that you can play in terms of what companies are raising at in China to the equivalent company down here, so you can buy your way into the market. I think regional teams are probably quite interesting to Chinese because you can buy a company down here that understands how to operate across Malaysia and Thailand and Indonesia and Singapore, you know, different languages, different currencies, different regulatory environments, and so it's an easier way to think about geographic expansion. You can start to build an international playbook that then you can apply to say, okay, well, we've done it in Southeast Asia, now let's go to the US, or now let's go to Europe, or now let's go to other places. And so I think there will be an increasing amount of a trend towards outbound M&A coming out of China's expanding.
So actually we have a SOSV China Accelerator Batch 7 company where you can tokenize yourself and you'll get tokens when you share. Yeah, it's Robin 8 PUT, if you want to check it out. Every time you share, you'll get crypto. Yeah. No kidding. So Edgar, last question for you. So in the context of the same question, but as a mobile telecom operator, I'm going to put you on the spot because we used to work together. So you've seen what Alibaba and Tencent have done to China Mobile, and China Mobile is a very strong carrier, monopoly type situation, but at this point they're not really in the services market. Now you've got these guys kind of marching down south, what do you think the impact will be? How are you looking at it? Problem, no problem, or future awesome partners?
Thanks for that one. I think I would summarize that by saying I think we're in for some very interesting times in the coming couple of years. I mean, the simple reality is that Tencent and Alibaba, they do see the Southeast Asian market as a very attractive market. But I would say, and they're going about systematically, looking at how to penetrate these markets and deliver more of the services and capabilities. I think in Southeast Asia, I think telcos, one is the fragmentation issue, which is still very real, right? And compared to China, which is one large market, so that's one additional complexity, Alibaba and Tencent have to deal with. And if you look at where they spend their time, obviously, no surprise they spend time in Indonesia and in India, because those are obviously the big markets that we go after. But I would say that just like when we saw the likes of Google and Facebook when they were coming into these markets, years ago, there is still the localization component, which I think is still a challenge today for Facebook and Google. And I suspect that Alibaba and Tencent will also face some of those same issues in terms of localizing for local markets. And I think that's where the local telcos, the domestic telcos, will have an opportunity to see how they can potentially partner with these players or provide something which is more relevant local to the consumers within these markets. Right? There are global companies with global brands and everyone uses Google and so forth, but I think you will also see the emergence of more localized, contextually relevant businesses, internet businesses within each of the markets. And whether they're all owned by Tencent and Alibaba, who knows? Well, that's why I think it's going to be very interesting times.
Oh, wonderful. Really appreciate your comments. Do you have any last things to say? I really appreciate your comments. I think, you're traveling globally. It's great to give you a platform to share, and really appreciate it. Jumbo's one of the leading investors across the region, and not so much country by country, but we're across border, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job across the region on the early stage side. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. So with that, we're going to kick it off to Demo Day 4 for MOX. So I'm going to hand it back to Ryan.
A big round of applause.
Thank you guys so much. All right. All right, we get these chairs moved, but we will start in just a second. All right, guys. So I have an ask for everybody in the audience real quick. Keep that right over there. Can everyone please take note of this? So the goal of Demo Day is to connect amazing startups with incredible investors like everybody in this crowd. So what we've done is we've created a website to do that especially for you. This site has all the information, the bios, the briefs, all the founders, as well as a really easy get connected button. In addition, this website will also have all of the pitches after today uploaded so it's easy to share with all of your colleagues. So the easiest way, this is probably not, that's the actual web address, but the easiest way is this. If you could just put your phone up, take a picture of that, scan that, and I'll give everybody a minute. So even if you're online, this works, because I checked. So if you can scan that, take a photo of it, this means that during the pitches, if you see a company that you like, you can simply just press get connected. It'll instantly get connected and help you do that intro, as well as forwarding you relevant information, their deck, and their video when it goes live. So we try to make it as easy, as painless, and as frictionless as possible to connect everybody. I see a few phones still up there. I'll show this again at the end. I see some more. Great. This becomes very, very useful as a tool. All right. Give it a few more seconds as everyone else is taking photos of it. Great, excellent. All right, guys, let's move on. So, we want to first give some introduction about what MOX is and SOSV. William, can I invite you back on stage one more time to run through this like you always do? Sure, thanks.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, so I think by now, hopefully you all know what an accelerator is. But we're a little bit different. So we're SOSV, the Accelerator VC. We actually started off in venture capital, and then we moved to accelerator. So we invest in all the companies that we work with. We do have a fixed term 3-month program, but we invest globally. So we're a little bit different than the others. We invest globally, and we're mentorship driven. So our companies are a bit later stage, and it's all bespoke based on one-on-one mentorship. And finally, yeah, we have a demo day. It's an important deadline for our companies that we work with. It's an opportunity to get in front of all of you, so I really appreciate your time. So what is MOX? We're focused on the next 4 billion. Our panelists, Edgar and David, talked a little bit about the new internet users who are just coming to the internet. They're mobile first, they may be mobile only. That means the first time they use the internet, it's on a mobile phone. And we're focusing on them. They're on Android. They're using $50, $60, maybe $100 US dollar phones. So they're at the low end. These phones generally only have a gig of memory, and their processing power is not that high. So what we're focused on is helping the best mobile startups from around the world expand into Southeast Asia and South Asia. And why do they need that help? Well, we've got a monopoly situation where Google, Facebook, 5 Chinese guys collectively control 100% of mobile advertising in the world. Google, Facebook globally is over 50%, and in Southeast Asia, South Asia, it's 85% market share. So even in India, the cheapest price that you have to pay to get a user is about 20 cents. But in India, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible, to make more than 20 cents on each user. So what's happened? Well, nobody's investing in mobile because the economics don't work. So it does not matter how good your product is. It doesn't matter how much users like it. Virality has been turned off by Facebook and other companies, and it's a walled garden where you have to pay to play. But even if you pay, it's not going to pay off. So we're here to try and solve that. So what's our approach? We take the best apps from around the world, and we give free user acquisition, free distribution to our network right now through our promotion partners to 167 million smartphone users, monthly active smartphone users. So free acquisition to our partners for 167 million. In India, we have reached about 20% of the smartphone users. Malaysia, about 10%, 12-13% into Indonesia, 10% Vietnam, about 15% of Philippines. And we do this on a revenue share basis. So our promotion partners take a share, and the startups take a share. So if you have a 20-cent cost of acquisition, you have to pay 20% to get a user, but you're only making 4 cents. That means every time you get a user, you lose 16 cents. But with MOX, we can split that 4 cents, and we all make money. So what's the results? Well, our program is forever. It's a long-term strategic partnership where we work with our companies for that long term. So we start off by helping our companies enter each market. India is not the same as Indonesia. In fact, Delhi, Gurgaon is not the same as Mumbai, is not the same as Calcutta. Every market, every city is different. We help our companies enter those markets and use data to get high user retention and to turn on that monetization. Once a company has got good retention and good monetization, we take them into our promotion partners and we grow them. So since we kicked off about 3 months ago, 2 apps are adding in the range of 200 to 300,000 users per month. We hope to bring that to all of our apps, to all of our distribution partners in the countries we're in: India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, and then expanding to Eastern Europe and South America, hopefully by the end of this year. And then finally, the money. Our goal is to make a recurring revenue stream for our promotion partners and to get our companies that we invested to profitability so that they become more attractive to the VCs, to you. So we're mentorship driven. The expertise that you need to go into India is different than Thailand, and we rely on our 270 mentors to help us get there. Who are we? We are SOSV. We're the accelerator VC. So we invested in 167 companies last year. We have 700 companies in the portfolio, and we invest globally, but by vertical. So you're in MOX, which is internet for cross-border market entry. We were the first into hardware. We're the #1 investor in hardware in the world with HAX, 2 programs there. We're the #1 investor in synthetic biology in the world with Rebel Bio and IndieBio. And it's interesting, we're #1 in animalist meat, where we brew meat like beer, which seems to be getting a lot of attention lately. And then finally, Ag Funder just came out with a report. We're the #1 investor in food tech and ag tech in the world through FoodX. So we do make money. We've been around since 1995. We have a 36% net IRR over 18 years, which puts us in the top 5% of VCs globally. In fact, our Fund 3, which is only 3 years old, so 3 years in, we have a 25% net IRR. Most VCs have a little J curve that goes down before it goes up. So we are performing here. But we don't take board seats, we rely on our VC partners to hand off our awesome companies once we help them get to scale and do that cross-border expansion. So size doesn't really matter, but in the early stage, seeing the companies being the #4 most active investor in the world does help, and our vertical focus does help. We just came out yesterday, so according to TechCrunch, Crunchbase, we're the most active, #4 most active blockchain VC in the world. Their numbers are always a little funky, but glad for the support. So what are our values? What we're trying to do is help early stage young entrepreneurs make a difference. And for MOX, we're trying to get, once they have a good product that people love, trying to get them through that glass ceiling, over the hump, so that it's possible for them to raise money, so that they have an economic model that makes sense. And we do that through our distribution platform, through our awesome team, and through our mentors. And our goal is to make the world a better place. Over 60% of our portfolio is focused on social impact under the UN framework. We are the #2 ranked investor in female-led startups in the world. Yesterday was International Women's Day. And then, finally, we're seeing entrepreneurs from all around the world. Almost 80 countries. We're extremely diverse. So I'm going to turn it back to Ryan, and we're going to kick off MOX Demo Day 4. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, guys. All right, everybody. Now let's get to the meat, the reason why everyone is here. Let's bring our attention up because we want to see these 6 incredible startups from all over the world pitch their vision. We have these companies, they're going to come up in just a moment. We're super lucky. And let's see. Alright, so for the first company, I want everyone to bring the energy up, put your hands together, let's applaud as Do Together comes up on stage. Come on, Do Together! Woo!
Thank you, Ryan. Today, allow me to tell you about Megha. Born and raised in the Indian city of Varanasi, Megha had a dream to be extremely successful in her life. But she knew that the only way to live her dream was to move to a big city with lots of opportunities. So Megha worked really hard, and she got a job offer from Intel in the Silicon Valley of India, that is Bangalore. She was so excited and happy to move to a new city for her new job. But it was only after moving did she realize how lonely she was there. Her family and all her friends were back in Varanasi. Moreover, she did not know what to do after work. You see, Megha is a young millennial in a new city who has no way to meet new people, make friends, or discover exciting activities happening in her city. Also, her safety is an issue, so Megha is not comfortable in hanging out with just anyone. And Megha is not alone. In India, every minute, 30 Indians are moving from smaller towns to bigger cities for study and work. And in India alone, there are 300 million people like Megha. So how do millennials like Megha find exciting activities around them and meet new people in a safe and secure environment? Introducing Do Together. Do Together is a social marketplace which allows millennials to connect with trusted locals in their city over exciting, curated activities happening around them, all delivered seamlessly through the Do Together app. Be it sports, hobbies like painting, adventure trips, paintball, or just socializing, there's something for everyone to do on Do Together. And we charge a flat 12% commission on every activity booked through the Do Together app. So how does this work? On the app, Megha can go through a wide range of indoor and outdoor activities happening around her. She can actually watch every activity as a video before booking it, so she knows exactly what to expect. Megha can know more about every activity host hosting an activity on Together because we verify every host to the last degree. Also, Megha gets to invite her friends and colleagues along with her so that she's not alone at the event. And voila, Megha is on her first Together experience, connecting with people in a way never seen before. Trust is important to us, and we encourage our users to leave a review for every activity host after the activity finishes. That's how simple it is. Let's talk about the market now. In India alone, there are 300 million millennials, students, and working professionals. Globally, this number goes up to 2 billion people. On the competitive landscape, Together is a true B2B platform, which means anyone can become an activity host on Together. However, every potential host has to go through a quality check procedure, which makes us incredibly reliable. Our team has a combined experience of 30 plus years in mobile and web technology, growth hacking, and travel industry. I am a 3-time founder, and I founded my first startup when I was 18 and in college. And we have advisors from NYU Stern and Peking University, helping us with networking and finding a product market fit. Interestingly, each of the founding members is a millennial who has lived or moved to a new city at some point in time in their lives. Hence, we understand our users really well. We have partnered with Paytm, the largest payment gateway in India, for instant, real-time payments happening right now on our app. We are backed by the Shapoorji Pallonji Group in India, which is a $3.2 billion conglomerate, as well as MOX SOSP, which is one of the most active seed investors in the world. Several publications have covered our success so far, including Hindustan Times, Outlook India, Business Standard, and Indian Times. And we were selected for Facebook's FB Start program in March 2017 for high growth startups, and have received several other awards within India and globally, including being pitch winners in our category at Rise 2017 last year. But most importantly, our users love us. Our activities have been rated 4.5 stars out of 5 over the past few months of us being live. And the positive feedback of our users is a testimony to that. In the past few months, we have covered 5 cities in India with over 120 activity hosts onboarded across these 5 cities. In this short period of time, we have had close to 500,000 people register on our platform with no marketing spend. And I'm very excited to tell you that in the past month itself, our gross sales having gone up 7 times. We are currently seeking an investment of $500,000 to expand ourselves within India and globally, and have $100,000 committed already by MOX SOSP. If you are interested in connecting leaders for tomorrow, please find me at my booth there. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, next up, I'd like to invite up on stage another incredible company coming to help solve big problems for big markets. Please put your hands together for Oom. Come on up, Oom.
Thank you, Ryan. Right, I would like you to meet Sarah. Sarah is 19 years old. She works at a sales promotion in a mini market. She lives in a small town of 300 people in Cirebon in Indonesia. Now, Sarah makes $200 a month. Okay, she has to save for 4 months in order for her to buy her first mobile phone. It's just an entry-level phone. So she went back, opened up the box, power up the phone, and she found something that what is called Google, asking her to do something called login. She has no idea what it means. So she pressed on the screen, skip, until it all goes away. Now, unfortunately for Sarah, without a Google ID, her smartphone is now a dumb phone. She can't download anything. There are hundreds and millions of people, the first-time smartphone users, are confused by Google, are confused by Google Play, right? Forget about Google Wallet. In Indonesia, credit card penetration is only 3%. In fact, it might be slightly higher, but they can't use it, there's no credit card. Now, let me introduce you to Om. Om is built for mobile-first users who enable them to make full use of their phone from the moment they turn it on. We provide news, video, games, and also HTML5 games, in fact, for all our users to enjoy in their own language delivered to their phone. And we actually customize their experience for each country, and we started with Indonesia. Now, let's take a look at how this works. So, users can read their news in all local language. They can download games, apps to connect with their friends and get more information. They can watch video, both local and international, and play HTML5 games right on their phone without ever downloading them. All this while they're earning points and getting rewards, and they can exchange these points for vouchers, such as shopping vouchers or phone credits. Now, our users love us is because we bring the content to them the way they want it, at the press of the button. And we make payment easy by using mobile phone credit, something that they're very familiar with. Games developers, apps developers, our video and news content partners all love us. Why? Because we bring all these engaged users right to them, and we share the revenue with them. Now, she's happy. Sarah is happy because with OM, she has turned her dumb phone into a smartphone all along while earning rewards. They are, Sarah is not like you and I. We understand our billion mobile subscribers in India and Southeast Asia, and half of them are smartphone users. OM is a super localized platform. We deliver localized content to our users compared to international global platform which deliver Western content. And we reward our users with every single engagement they do on our platform. My name is Stanley. I'm the COO and co-founder of OM. Over the last 20 years,